everything I'm going to mention, books that I think about regularly. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and today we are going over some translated book recommendations. I had a couple different ideas on how I wanted to film this video. So first of all, I thought about what if I group them by the country, so like the French books that I really recommend and German books and things like this. But then I thought, you know what, I probably don't have enough to do proper groups like that, so there's no point. Then I thought about doing it by genre, and again that didn't quite work out, so instead we're just gonna go by three different categories. First of all, kind of like the catch-all, these are the books I really like. There's not enough of them to fit into one singular category, so they're all together. We've got the second section, which is going to be weird books, because I do actually love weird books. Weird books in general, weird translated books, like I love it. I eat it up. So I definitely want to talk about those in a separate category because they deserve it. And then the final bit will be books on my TBR that are translated that I'm really looking forward to get into. Now these are not going to be all of the translated books that I've read. I've read quite a few classics. I've also read a few extras where these were good, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend all of these. So I wanted to do like my favourite out of the translated books that I have read. And so that is what we're going with. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you've read any translated books, what some of your favourites are, and if you have any recommendations for me, then feel free to put those in the comments below. I think, right, we're just gonna jump straight into it. So I hope you're all doing really, really well. Grab yourself a nice hot beverage because I like to talk a lot, and let's just get straight to it. Okay, so I've done these in no particular order, so we're just going to work down the pile that I've got for this first section, which is just translated books in general, which actually, while I'm thinking about it, I should actually talk to you about a book that I read that I don't physically own yet, and that is Bear Town by Fredrik Backman. Fredrik Backman is a Swedish author, and I really enjoyed this book. Now, Fredrik, he's very, very popular. There are so many of his books that so many people really like. A couple of them have had film adaptations, like A Man Called Ove, which the film adaptation is a man called Otto. Also, don't know what's happening with my lighting right now. The sun has decided to say hi. But yeah, Bear Town was a brilliant book. It's quite a hard-hitting book. We're in a small town where the whole town is focused in on hockey, ice hockey. It's their big thing. It's what brings people to their town. It's what brings money into the town. So it's really important. The pressure that is put onto the children that play hockey is unreal. What happens is one devastating act and the consequences it has on the town, and how a lot of people don't want to believe what actually happened, believe the truth of what happened because of the impact it's going to have on their ice hockey team, which will then have really big financial impacts on the town. And it's just really terrible. Like, it really questions the ethic. It really questions how a small town actually acts, especially when they are obsessed around sports and some of that mob mentality that comes with it. Like, it really is a devastating book. It's the start of a series. I haven't continued. I really need to. I think it is brilliant. It is really good. I also have another one of their books on my Kindle, which is Anxious People. I've got that one on my Kindle, which I've heard really good things. Like, in general, this is just an amazing author who has had really good reviews on all of their books. Just think they are really powerful. Just something about his writing is really well done. Like, I really, really loved this book. I just thought it was really good. Like, honestly, I wasn't sure going into it how much I would like this book, but I ended up getting so wrapped up in the lives of these people. You're following multiple different people and they all link together and link to the events that happen, but you really do just get so sucked into this town and everything about this town, like the frustrations, the want to have things done because it's the right thing to do, but seeing how people are stopping all of that for various different reasons. And it is just a truly heartbreaking story. I feel like it can be read as a standalone, but it does continue on, and I am intrigued to see where this story is going to go. It's definitely a book that every time I think about it, like, I will think about this book just randomly. It really does just stay with me. Yeah, it's really good. So if you haven't read a Fredrik Backman book, please give them a try. Moving on from that one, we have a classic book, and like I said, I've read quite a few French classics actually. Well, 3. I've read 2 other French classics. I've also read a couple of Russian classics, but out of all of them, this is my favourite one, Notre Dame de Paris by Victor Hugo. I loved this book. I mean, obviously, We know the more Disney-fied version of the story, which is the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but this is just so wonderful. It's very dark, it's very gritty, it's very gothic. There are 3 chapters in here which all it does is romanticize about architecture, the architecture of Paris, how Victor Hugo is so concerned that future generations, they're going to lose all of this expressionism within our architecture, and he's not wrong. It was so powerful and so well done, and honestly those chapters were my favorite parts of the book. I just think it was brilliant, and then the actual storyline itself really is a lot darker than what you think. So we're following a few different characters in here, and they all kind of, again, they link up together, they all interact in different ways. It's so dark and gritty, and yet it's so well done. The thing is, if you've seen the Disney film, you kind of have certain expectations, but it's not like that. Like, it's darker, and I like that. It's about fatal obsession. The archdeacon, he falls into an obsession with this gypsy dancer Esmeralda while she is bewitched by the handsome officer, who is honestly really horrible in this book. He's so horrible, and it's just kind of like that combination between the two of these different obsessions. And then of course we do have Quasimodo, who lives in Notre Dame. It's a really good book. Like, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it. It's been a little while since I've read it. I definitely need to give it a reread, because I think it's been about almost 3 years since I read this book, but it is one that has stayed with me, and one that when I think of translated classics, this is the first one that comes to mind for me. Obviously you've got other ones like Phantom of the Opera is another really popular one, but I really do prefer this. There is just something about this book that just transcends all the others, because of, and I think it's a combination of really gothic elements, the tale of obsession in here, plus those moments where we just describe the beautiful architecture and how architecture was used for artwork, really, to really express yourselves and things, and how we have lost that. And I just think it was so well done. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. So if you are looking for a good French classic and you haven't read this one, I really would recommend it. But obviously it is another darker one, so again, double check your trigger warnings. I mean, I would recommend that with pretty much all the books that I'm going to be talking about, but it's just fantastic. I really enjoyed this, and I really need to do a reread and then go on to read Les Miserables, which Victor Hugo also wrote, which is a massive book. So obviously I'm intimidated by that one, but I think if I do a reread of this, it's going to get me back into the writing style, and then I can just chip away at that book potentially. We'll see. We'll see if I work up the courage. Don't hold me to that one, because I cannot promise when I'm actually going to get to that one. But if you have read it, let me know what you think and if it's worth the time. But okay, moving on to a German book, we have Cassandra by Christa Wolf. I loved this book. This is Greek mythology. It's a retelling based on Cassandra, who is the person that was cursed with visions of the future, but to never be believed. And this is such a good book. This is one of the few books where it's done in stream of consciousness that I actually really like. I adored this writing. This is probably my favorite Greek mythology retelling I have ever read. Like, when I think about Greek mythology retellings that I really like, this is always at the top. I just think it is so well done and so overlooked. I mean, first of all, the cover is absolutely gorgeous, and it's the first thing that drew me into this. Like, I had a whole phase probably about maybe 3-4 years ago. I just keep saying 3 years for everything. It could have been longer, where I was getting really into my Gothic mythology, Greek mythology. I mean, some of it is pretty dark, and I was reading loads of retellings, absolutely loved it. I saw this one when I was in the midst of that and just fell in love with the cover, so had to pick it up. And this is just gorgeous. It is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's a harrowing tale. This book is kind of taking place when Cassandra was first cursed with the fact that nobody's ever going to believe her and her visions, and then also the fall of Troy and the after effects. So, and it does jump around in timelines because it's kind of the stream of consciousness writing style. There isn't a flow to the timeline or the narrative. It's literally just as Cassandra's thinking about it, and sometimes she is brought straight back to the present where she's actually on a ship with Agamemnon. It's so good. It's so well done, because you'll get those sharp moments of like, this is where she is presently is on that ship back to Greece with Agamemnon, and then you'll get other bits where she's thinking about when she was a child, and then she's thinking about the horrendous act that happened and the reason why she was cursed, the fall of Troy, and it's just so well done. Obviously you deal with the fact that a lot of people think she is mad and how she's treated as a result of that. Like, this is not an easy story to read, but it is so wonderful, and again, I think it is so underrated. It's definitely slept on and it needs to be read. So yeah, I would really recommend this one. I loved it. Going back to a French book, we have I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This is a book I read last year and ended up being one of my favourite books ever. This is wonderful. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. Again, quite a hard story. Again, almost like a stream of consciousness. We're following a character who doesn't have a name, doesn't know anything about the world. We're in this kind of like dystopian setting. We don't even know where we are, what's happened. Is it in the future? Is it a different world? We've got no idea because we're following a character who has no idea. And she is just writing down this story in the hopes that someone may come across it eventually at some point. But basically she is in this underground room with these group of women. She has been there ever since she was very, very small, and they are constantly monitored. They are kept in this little cell. They're not allowed to hug one another. They're not allowed to show extremes of emotion, and they have to do everything in front of one another. Like, there's no privacy. And what happens to society when it is like that? Now, a lot of the women, they were there, they came to this situation as adults, and so they remember their past lives, but they've got no idea how they ended up here. Like, no idea, not even an inkling. There is just blank space of whatever happened, and then one day they're able to escape. And this is just so good and so heartbreaking, and it talks about so many different things, and it is a book that I know I will reread and get something completely different out of it every single time I read it. It is so well done. Again, another book that, I mean, it has had a lot of hype more recently. It's why I picked it up, is because I kept seeing it everywhere and seeing brilliant reviews, so I was like, why not? And it deserves it. It really does deserve it. This is a book where I can go, I have no critiques. It is so well done, and while yes, it could be seen as very dissatisfying, the ending of it all, it's just brilliant. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this book and would really recommend reading this one. It is brilliant, it's scary, it's insightful, it is harrowing, but worth it. Another French book, which again has stuck with me for years. I'm not sure when I first read this one. July 2022. This is brilliant. So this is The Madwoman's Ball by Victoria Mars. This is a book that I picked up again because it was getting some buzz when it was first released, and then it all kind of settled down and I never heard anyone talking about it. And again, people are sleeping on this book. It is another one that is so powerful. It's just fantastic. So in this one, we are following an actual asylum. So this was an actual asylum in Paris. I'm not even going to try and say it. I'm sorry. I'm going to butcher that pronunciation. But it's set in 1885. So it's like a little historical fiction book. One of the few historical fictions that I have fell head over heels for. I love it. Probably because of the Gothic nature of this book. But yes, we're in 1885 and we're following a few different women. We follow one of the women that actually works in this asylum and really believes in what the doctor's doing, really believes that they're making a difference to these women's lives. We follow someone else who's in the asylum that's really happy to be in the asylum. She has had harrowing things happen to her outside of this asylum, and she's like, at least here I am safe from them. Then we have someone that's been put in here who is rebelling against it. She has just been rebelling. Her father's fed up of her behavior, and so he shoves her in this asylum, and it is horrible. And the things that they go through, like, it really shows the horrible nature of how asylums were. They would be put out on display for aristocrats to come in and just view and sneer at and mockery. Some of the treatments that the women were under were just horrific and more like torture than anything else. Like, it is really a dark, difficult read, but it is so good, so poignant. It has such a good tale to tell. This book, again, this is one that stays in my head rent-free. Like, I can honestly say a lot of these ones that I'm mentioning are books that are some of my favorites that have never left my mind, which is why these are my top recommendations. Like, genuinely, all of these ones, everything I've just mentioned, everything I'm going to mention, books that I think about regularly. I love them. They are so good. It is why I want to be reading more and more translated work, definitely making a more active effort to read more translated works this year. Anyway, this is fantastic. Absolutely love this book. Then we have Will Prescribe You a Cat by Shoyo Ishida. This is a Japanese book that is so wholesome. This is such a cute, cozy little book, and it's written almost like it's short stories, especially the first 3, and then they kind of continue on from one another then. It is so cute. I absolutely love it. I think it is such a wonderful tale, and it's literally about this place where you go in, you're feeling lost, don't really know what to do with your life, but you've been recommended, hey, go to this place, and you get prescribed a cat, and it's how cats can really make a big impact on your life, and it's so wonderful. Like, genuinely, it is such a wonderful book. It's also a little bit heartbreaking, especially towards the end when you realise what's going on, but yeah, fantastic. Really recommend if you're looking for something that's cozy and heartwarming. This is definitely my favourite cozy translated book that I have read. And then the last one in this category, I just wanted to quickly mention The Honjin Murders by Sessue Yokomose. It's a Japanese mystery, and I really liked this one. Now, I really like my murder mysteries, as we know, but a lot of the ones I read are Western, especially like Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes, even some of like the modern day stuff that I read. I wanted to read something different, and I really liked this one, and I do want to read more Japanese mysteries. It was a really interesting look into culture as well, because the reason why everything happened was something that I questioned, and I'm like, really? Is this really what happened? But actually, when you think about the culture behind it all, it makes perfect sense. I think it's really important to not just read from a small selection of English American authors, but actually diversify your reading. I think Japanese mysteries is a really good way to do that, especially within the mystery genre. I mean, there are lots of other mysteries. I have a French mystery, couple of mysteries that I want to get to. There are just so many things. There's also a German mystery I want to get to that's really cute and cozy. I don't own it physically, but it's on my radar. But I just think, you know, every genre has translated books in it, and I want to make sure that I'm reading from across the genres, especially because have such an impact. Like, I can definitely see how this book has inspired other authors, and I just think it was very interesting the way it was all done. And this one is set in winter, and it's taking place just after a marriage, and the bride and groom have been murdered. The ending was a little bit lackluster for me, but I think, again, that's probably just based on a culture difference rather than anything else. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, would recommend. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the weird books. Now, as we know, I love a good weird book, and some of these have just, okay, all of these have just stuck with me. So I'm going to go in order of weirdness, so like the lightest to the weirdest. So I'm going to start off with a book that isn't necessarily that weird, but that's My Husband by Maud Ventura. Maud Ventura is an author that I want to read everything that is translated by them. We've got a new one coming out in May, which is Make Me Famous. This is a book that I don't own physically that I do want a copy of, and it's set over the course of a week. It's just a small book. It's French, by the way, if I didn't mention that. We just follow in this woman who is obsessed with her husband, and it seems like fine at first, and then as you go through the book, as you get further into the week, things get more and more unhinged. It is a really weird tale of obsession, and the ending, whew, that was amazing. I loved it so freaking much. I think about that ending all the time. I want a physical copy. I want to reread it. I want to annotate it. I love books about obsession anyway. Honestly, I could do a whole separate video on book recommendations about obsession, because I am obsessed with obsession. And I just think this book was really good, and you really saw the unhinged nature, and especially because like our narrator refuses to call her husband by a name. It is my husband. He is my husband, and it's just so good. Like, I love it. And again, this is a book that has not left my mind. It's just it's really good. And don't get me wrong, I can understand a lot of complaints about this book because it's slow, it doesn't seem like anything really happens, but you know, honestly, I'm just a person that likes a slow, weird book with obsession thrown in, and I'm there. So this was perfect for it. So yeah, would recommend this one. Then we have a book that is weird, but more on the disturbing weird side, and that is a German book, which is Perfume by Patrick Susskind. Very disturbing. Realising that's a common theme with me, but it's gothic, it is disturbing. We are following a perfumer who becomes obsessed with making this particular perfume which is the smell of dead virgins. He becomes consumed by this, and honestly things get unhinged towards the end. Like, it gets really crazy, and I was honestly reading it and I'm like, what the hell is going on here right now? But I was obsessed. I couldn't turn away. I wanted to keep focused. It is disturbing. It is disgusting, but it's so good. I just think if you really like a good dark gothic tale and you haven't read this one, give it a read. It is so, like I say, unhinged, disturbing, but it is fantastic, and I just think it's brilliant. Like, again, this is a book I need to reread. I really enjoyed this one. I ended up enjoying it so much more than what I thought, and we're following the perfumer, so we're in his mind, and you do kind of see how he has been shunned by society, and that doesn't at all justify his actions, but you can kind of see what led him down this path. And yeah, then the things that happen, disturbing to say the least, and that's all I'm going to say on it, because I do think this book is one that you should go in just knowing that about it. Again, check your trigger warnings. Always check your trigger warnings, especially with something like this. Then we've got a little bit more unhinged. We have the Rabbitback Literature Society. I'm really sorry, I cannot pronounce this author's name at all. I know I'm just going to butcher this name, so I don't want to do that. Also, I realised I haven't been mentioning any of the translators, which is absolutely horrendous of me. I think translators, like the authors are amazing, and then translators do a fantastic job because they really need to know the nuances of the book to be able to translate it, because not everything can translate perfectly. And so when you have a good book, you know that the translator has done so much good work for it. And I do like the fact that we are starting to get translators on the front cover. I mean, this one doesn't have it, but we are starting to get translators on the front cover of books. But this book, the Rabbitback Literature Society, is fantastic. It's so weird. It's got ties to Finnish folklore, which I'm not well versed in, but this book was really good. And again, it's a little bit uncomfortable reading, but we're following a main character, Ella, and Ella is a literature teacher. She has gone back home to where she grew up and she's teaching literature, but in her class she's realising that book, they're kind of rewriting themselves. They're coming out with things that don't actually happen in the book, and she's finding this very peculiar, and she realises that yes, this does happen sometimes, and she ends up getting involved in this society, the Rabbitback Literature Society, which used to be very exclusive when she was at school, and she wasn't initially a part of it. Everyone that was a part of it went on to be really good authors, and when she does stumble into it, she realises this is very uncomfortable, very claustrophobic feeling. We have the main person that is a really famous author in this little town who is in charge of this society, and she goes missing. She just vanishes, and you're really left not knowing what actually happened. Fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. Again, it's another underrated one. I talk about it a lot when I can, like my weird book recommendations, I talked about it, dark academia recommendations I spoke about. Like, I'm always trying to get this one across. So it is a dark academia book, and I just love it. It's so unusual and so haunting, but it is so well done, but some of it really is unsettling. But I really enjoyed this book. I just thought it was very good. I read this one in April of 2023, so almost 2 years ago now. I annotated the hell out of this one. It is just so good. It's so unnerving. Another one that just lives in my head rent free. Then we have an Icelandic book, and this is Swanfolk by Kristin Ormarsdottir. This is a book I actually read while I was on the plane to Iceland. I mean, absolutely perfect timing. So I read this one back in, I never put the date on this one. I did this before, so I've annotated it, and I didn't put in my tab, like the key for the tabs, and normally on that key I would put the date that I read this. When did I go to Iceland? That was 2023. I think it was like September 2023 or something. Loved it. Iceland is beautiful. I had such an amazing time, and this book is so unusual. And again, this is a book you get to the end of it and then you question everything you just read. You're following an unreliable narrator, which is a trope that I love. I love that. Love having unreliable narrator. But yes, we're following an unreliable narrator, and she works for government. She's a spy, and one day she stumbles across these people, creatures. They are part human, part swan, and she is like thinking, what the hell, what are these people, like what is going on? And she gets embroiled with them, and things get weird and bizarre, and by the end of it you're questioning everything you just read, and I loved it. And again, I'm not going to give you much more than that, because I think a weird book, like, you need to read it to really discover it, to really know what's going on. I loved the descriptions of nature in this. I know that's definitely what some of the tabs were, is nature in here. I loved the writing in this book. I thought it was expertly done. I loved the different things it was exploring. It was just a wonderful book. Like, I really enjoyed it. And again, this is another one that I am constantly thinking of, so do yourself a favour and give this one a read. This one was also shortlisted for the Icelandic Women's Literature Prize, and I definitely want to read more Icelandic works, so definitely if you've got any recommendations, then put those in the comments below. But this one was translated by Vala Thorods, which again, better late than never. I do apologise with that. And then finally we have Vita Nostra by Marina and Sergei Dychenko, and this one is translated from Russian, but they are Ukrainian authors, and this one's translated by Julia Mitov-Hersey, and this, so good. Now honestly, I have not physically read this book. I listened to this book about 4 years ago, and good God, can it not leave my head? Like, genuinely, I can't stop thinking about this book. When I first finished reading it, I was like, okay, that was weird, don't know if I liked that, and then I've not stopped thinking about it. Like, genuinely, I've not stopped thinking about it. And I know this is a book I really want to reread. I want to annotate the heck out of this book. It is so good. So we're following Sasha, and Sasha is approached one day by this random gentleman. He tells her that she's got to complete these certain tasks. If she does, she'll get accepted into this elite university. And she does. She starts finishing these tasks, and as she does, she coughs up gold coins. And this is a book that is so weird and surreal. It just boggles the mind. Some of the things that happen in this book, when I was listening to it, I was like, I genuinely don't even know what's happening here. Like, I am so transfixed. Like, I just don't know. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what is meant to be happening. Like, it was a ride. It was so well done, and yeah, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed this book. I am constantly thinking about it. There is a second book out. I really want to reread it. Now, I mean, look how tiny that writing is. It's absolutely tiny. So this is definitely going to take some time to read, but I know that since I listened to it, and I'm not the best at listening to audiobooks because I know I definitely missed things, so I do find I get easily distracted when I'm listening to an audiobook. So it's why I prefer physically reading a book or an ebook, because I remember things more if I'm reading it with my eyeballs. If I'm listening to it, I am so easily distracted. It is unreal. So I know I missed things, and yet I'm still obsessed with this book, and I really cannot wait to reread it. Love it. More people need to talk about it. It's dark academia weirdness. It's amazing. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. As I already said, I think weird books, they speak for themselves. So those are all the ones that I have read that I really enjoyed, that I would recommend. And now we're just going to do a rapid fire of the translated books that are on my TBR. This video has been going on quite a while, so I'm going to try and get through them as quickly as possible, so you're not going to get much of a synopsis from me, but do let me know if you've read any of them. Okay, so first up we've got a couple of modern classics. The first one is one that I started reading, which is Água Viva by Clarice Lispector. This is translated from Portuguese, but Clarice Lispector is Brazilian. This is a book that stream of consciousness, I just couldn't concentrate on it at the time of me going to read this book, but I will get back to it. I am expecting really good things. It's only a short little one. I'm looking forward to reading it. Before I start forgetting to name translators again, we have this translation by Stefan Tobler. So this is a Nordic book, which is The Ice Palace by, I'm again gonna butcher pronunciation, I'm really sorry, but this one's translated by Elizabeth Rocken. This one I don't know too much about. I just know that winter's gonna be a really good time to read this book, and it's about some girls that go missing, I think it is. Yes, a girl that goes missing, and it's about like a frozen palace and things, and it sounds amazing. Then we have a bunch of French books. So we've got The Bleeding by Joanna Gustafsson, and this one is translated by David Warrener. This is a kind of like a murder mystery that spans 3 different eras. It's been on so many TBRs of mine. I've still not got around to reading it, but I do really want to. As you may tell, I do really like a French translated book, and this one does sound very, very good. We then have a more literary lean-in French book, and that's Freshwater for Flowers by Valerie Perrin, and this one is translated by Hildegard Saul, and this is meant to be really beautiful and poignant and a little bit hard-hitting and emotional. So yeah, very excited to give this one a try. A little bit outside my comfort zone because it's more literary lean-in, but I am curious to give it a try. Again, I love French book. This one was recommended to me by you several times, so thank you so much for that recommendation. Continuing on with the French books, we have Gratitude by Delphine de Vegan, and this one is, again, sorry about pronunciations, this one's translated by George Miller. I think this one is kind of like more thriller leaning. We're following a speech therapist working in a care home with a new patient who has some unusual secrets and things. It seems a little bit gothic and it's short, and I just think it's going to be fantastic. We then have a book that I'm hoping to read soon, which is Mood Indigo by Boris Vian. This one's translated by Stanley Chapman, and this one gives me Alice in Wonderland, very surreal vibes. I think this is going to fit really well into my weird book. It's on my spring TBR, hoping to read it soon. I think the cover is absolutely stunning and I have really high hopes for this book. And then the last French book, like, can you see I have a bit of obsession here? For the last French one, we've got The Enigma of Room 622 by Joël Dicker, and this one is translated by Robert Bonneau, and this one is a kind of like a thriller mystery. Really curious about it. I have heard, again, good things about this author, so I'm excited to give them a try, and I really like this cover. I think it's quite cool. So yeah, so who knows what's going to happen with this one. I am intrigued. Moving on from French books, we have a book that I'm going to be reading shortly. Probably would have started it by the time this video comes out, and that is a Swedish book, Nordic Fauna by Andrea Lundergreen, translated by John Little, and this one is a short story collection that I think is going to be absolutely brilliant. So like I say, I think I would have started it by the time this video comes out. I'm really excited to read this book. I think it's going to be wonderful. It's one I've had my eye on for absolutely ages. So yeah, really high expectations for this little collection. We have a Japanese horror book, which is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, and this one is translated by Ginny Tapley Takamori, and this one is meant to be really weird, really disturbing, really unusual. Again, it's going to fit in really well with my weird books obsession that I've got. I'm really excited to give this one a try. I know to go in expecting it to be very disturbing and things. I was meant to be reading this in February, then I hit a really weird reading slump, so I never got round to reading it, but it is one that I am intrigued by. And honestly, I quite like this cover. I think it's so weird and unusual, and I think it's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be my sort of weird. Then we've got my most recent addition to the TBR, which is My Heavenly Favourite by Lucas Rejuvenate. This is translated by Michelle Hutchinson, and this is a Dutch author, which I'm really excited. Oh, I've got another Dutch, but I should probably put those together. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one. This is a book about obsession, again, kind of giving Lolita vibe. So we'll see how well I get on with this one, but we're following a local veterinarian who becomes enraptured by a 14-year-old farmer's daughter, and things get dark and disturbing. But I do quite like a good dark and disturbing book every so often, and I was just pulled in by this cover, and I thought, why not? Why not give it a try? This was very much just a spur of the moment purchase. We'll see how I get on with it. I know they've done another book, The Discomfort of Evening, which did the rounds a little while ago, so we'll see how I get on. Another Dutch book is Girls by Annette Schnapp, and this one is translated by Laura Watkinson. And this one is actually a middle grade book. It's a short story collection of fairy tales with a slight twist to them, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. I didn't realise it was middle grade when I first picked it up. I just started reading the writing. It was on my local bookstore's book recommendations thing that they have. Like, they've got a whole shelf of book recommendations by the different booksellers, and the tag for this that they had done, and then reading the first couple of sentences, like, it just intrigued me enough that I wanted to give it a go, which says a lot considering I don't tend to read middle grade, but I think this one is going to be a good one. And lastly, the final book on my TBR, we have The Imposium, a health resort horror story by Olga Tokarowski. This is a Polish book that has been translated by Antonia Lloyd-Jones. And this is a book I did start reading, and then I wanted to give it more concentration than what I could at that time. I got up to page 90. But this is really giving me like Dracula vibes, but I know it's actually based on a different classic book, The Magic Mountain, I think it is, which is a massive book. But I'm really intrigued. I do want to reread what I read and then continue on. I think this is a book that deserves a bit more attention. We're in this health resort where things are not quite as they seem. Really intrigued to carry on with this one. I think I want to read this coming up to like Halloween time because of those Dracula vibes that I was getting, like the setting, the descriptions of the health resort and everything. Like it does seem like very Dracula coded, so I'm really intrigued to give this another try and to actually like read it at a time when I can dedicate time to it. That is that. So that is all the books on my TBR that are translated. If you have any recommendations for me, please put them in the comments below. And like I say, if you've read any of these, what are your thoughts on them and things? What are some of your favourite translated works? I would love to know. But I've been talking for absolutely ages. It's 45 minutes in now, so hopefully you've enjoyed this video. And yeah, if you're looking for any other different types of book recommendations videos from me, feel free to put them in the comments below and I will add them to my list of videos to create. Or in general, if you have any video ideas that you would like to see me do, then feel free to put those in the comments below. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got some book recommendations from this video. I mean, I do love a good translated book, and I think you can definitely see I lean a little bit more gothic and weird with my translations, but I love them so much. I think some of these books are definitely some of my all-time favorites. Like fantastic. On top of all of the ones that I've just mentioned, I have read like manga and manhwa and things like this, but I haven't included those. These are just the translated novels that I've read, and again, these aren't an exhaustive list. I have read other translated books. These are just my favorite ones and the ones that I want to be reading. That's everything, and thank you so much for settling in for this video. If you've made it all the way to the end, I am truly impressed. I don't know what to put in the comments below. Actually, you know what? Put a bunny for the Rabbitback Literature Society. Put a little rabbit in the comments below if you've made it this far. I just don't know what to comment. But before I go, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that continues to support this channel, to all of my returning viewers, to new viewers and stuff. Like, I genuinely appreciate everyone that takes the time to watch these videos. Like, it really does mean a lot, so thank you. And an extra special thank you to my Patreons who voted on this video, who are really supportive over there and get first updates and things of things that I want to do with my channel, that get to decide on videos like this, on what's coming out for the month, and get exclusive videos and things. So if you ever want to join and be a part of the community, then feel free to have a look below. The link is in the description. But yeah, thank you so much for all of your support over there. It just, I'm still in awe over everyone's support, so thank you so much. But I have been speaking for a very long time, so I am going to leave it there. So if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those three things really help this channel out. My social media links, Patreon, everything is linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.